Imagine opening your eyes one morning with the unsettling realization that the life you have been living may not actually be your own. Every choice you've made, every belief you carry, every desire that pushes you forward, what if they didn't come from the deepest part of you? What if they were planted there, shaped by the expectations of others, by the conditioning of society, by the silent voices of culture, upbringing, and fear? And here's the great question. How much of the person you call me is real, and how much is only a mask? We live our days playing roles, reciting scripts we never consciously wrote. We pursue success, love, approval, and belonging without ever asking, is this what I truly want? Or is this only what I've been told to want? It is here, at the edge of this uncomfortable question, that Carl Jung enters the conversation, a man who spent his life diving into the unseen depths of the human mind. Jung once suggested that life does not truly begin until you find yourself. But what does that mean? Is finding yourself about self-awareness? Is it about personal growth? Or is it something far deeper? A process so profound that it can tear apart the illusions we cling to and rebuild us into something entirely new. Stay with me, because as we journey through Jung's insight, you may come to see why most people never truly meet themselves, and why those who do undergo a transformation so powerful it shifts not just how they see themselves, but how they engage with the entire world. Carl Jung, one of the great pioneers of depth psychology, refused to believe that mental health was simply about adjusting to society. That, he argued, was the trap. Most of us are taught that if we can fit in, achieve, follow the rules, and earn approval, we will finally be happy. But Jung noticed something troubling. The people who seemed the most well-adjusted outwardly often carried an inner restlessness, an unshakable sense that something was missing. He saw that true psychological growth is not about fitting into the world's mold, but about breaking it. It is about what he called individuation, the journey of becoming your most authentic self. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people never take that journey. They live entire lifetimes within versions of themselves carefully crafted by parents, culture, religion, and the silent rules of society. They grow up chasing the approval of others, mistaking validation for love and conformity for meaning. Deep inside, however, the whisper remains. Something isn't right. This is not who I really am, so why do we fail to find ourselves? Jung believed the answer lies in the way we are conditioned from the moment we are born. We arrive in the world pure, undefined, open, and immediately we are given names, identities, and roles. We are taught what is acceptable, what is rewarded, and what is punished. Little by little, we adapt. We hide what doesn't earn approval, and we display what does. By the time we reach adulthood, most of us are so accustomed to the performance that we no longer notice it as a performance at all. This mask we wear, Jung called it the persona. It is the face we present to the world, the role we play to function in society. And yes, it has value. Without a persona, we couldn't interact, build careers, or navigate relationships. But here is where the danger lies. The more tightly we cling to the mask, the more we forget what lies beneath it. We begin to believe that we are the persona, that the carefully constructed role is all there is. And what happens to the parts of us that don't fit into the mask? The pieces that others told us were too much, too strange, or unacceptable? Jung had a name for this too, the shadow. If the persona is what we show, the shadow is what we hide. It is everything we reject, deny, or suppress within ourselves, our fears, our forbidden desires, our vulnerabilities, even our untapped strengths. But here's where things become truly profound. The shadow never disappears. It doesn't vanish simply because we pretend it isn't there. Instead, it lurks beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions in ways we rarely recognize. Think about it. Have you ever felt an intense dislike for someone without really understanding why? Have you ever been triggered by certain qualities in others' arrogance, selfishness, weakness, only to later realize that those very qualities also live in you? Jung believed that when other people provoke us so strongly, it is often because they are reflecting back a piece of our own shadow. What disturbs us in them is also hidden within us. And here is Jung's brilliant insight. Within the shadow lies the key to true self-discovery. The parts of yourself you've suppressed are not your enemies. They are the missing pieces of your wholeness. To grow, you don't eliminate the shadow, you integrate it. You face what you've denied, you bring it into consciousness. And in doing so, you unlock a deeper source of authenticity and power than you ever imagined. But why don't most people do this? Because confronting yourself is terrifying. It requires stepping into silence, away from the endless noise of distraction. It means facing your insecurities, questioning the beliefs you were taught, and admitting truths about yourself that you've buried for years. And so instead, we distract ourselves. We drown the inner voice with work, entertainment, constant scrolling, endless talking, anything that keeps us from sitting in stillness. But the unconscious will not remain silent. It speaks to us through anxiety, self-sabotage, recurring conflicts, unfulfilling relationships, and the haunting sense of being lost. Jung believed that if we pay attention, if we listen to our dreams, our instincts, our emotions, we begin to see patterns. We begin to notice how our deepest wounds drive our choices, how our suppressed desires shape our relationships, and how the qualities we most fear often contain the greatest lessons. Consider the fear of rejection. How many people go through life terrified of being judged, abandoned, or unworthy? They chase approval, hide their true thoughts, and sacrifice authenticity just to belong. But Jung would ask, where does that fear come from? Is it truly about other people, or does it trace back to an old wound? Perhaps a childhood moment of being ignored, dismissed, or made to feel small. We would say that this fear is not merely an emotion. It is a shadow aspect of the self. And until it is acknowledged, it will control us from behind the curtain. But something remarkable happens when we finally face the shadow. It loses its grip. Imagine living without the paralyzing fear of judgment. Imagine speaking your truth without hesitation. Choosing based not on external pressure, but on an inner resonance that feels unshakably true. This is the essence of individuation, not becoming someone new, but becoming fully who you already are. And yet, as profound as this is, Jung believed the journey does not end here. The persona and the shadow are only the beginning. Deeper forces shape our identity, forces that go beyond personal memory and into something universal. Forces that exist within every human being, whether they realize it or not. Jung called them archetypes. These are ancient patterns, collective blueprints of the human psyche. They appear in myths, religions, dreams, and stories told across centuries. When you strip away the mask of the persona and shine light into the depths of the shadow, you discover that the journey inward is only just beginning. Because beneath your personal story, beyond your unique memories and struggles, there exists a deeper layer of the psycho realm Jung believed is shared by all human beings. He called it the collective unconscious. Think about the stories that have been told across time. Myths of gods and heroes, tales of battles between light and darkness, stories of wise mentors, tricksters, villains, innocent children, and great transformations. These themes appear in every culture, every age, every corner of the world. Why? Jung believed it was because they are not random. They are archetypes, universal patterns embedded in the human psyche. And here's the remarkable thing. These archetypes are not just ancient stories out there in books or legends. They are alive inside you. They move within your unconscious, shaping your desires, your fears, your dreams, and even your daily choices. Take the hero archetype. This is the part of you that longs for purpose, that feels called to something greater. It is the drive that pushes you to overcome obstacles, grow stronger, and become more than you were yesterday. But the hero is never alone. Always, somewhere close, waits the shadow. In myths, the hero must face a monster, an enemy, or a dark challenge before they can truly evolve. In your life, that monster often takes the form of fear, doubt, or self-sabotage. Have you ever stood on the edge of change, knowing you needed to step forward, but feeling an invisible resistance pulling you back? That was your shadow, holding you in place. The battle between the hero and the shadow is not something that happens only in epic tales. It happens in your mind, in your decisions, in every moment when you are called to grow. But here is where most people go wrong. They try to defeat the shadow by ignoring it, suppressing it, or pretending it doesn't exist. Jung believed that the real path to transformation comes not from rejecting the shadow, but from integrating it. When you face your fears and doubts directly, they stop being obstacles and become teachers. For example, consider self-doubt. Most people see it as weakness, something to overcome or bury. But what if you asked where it came from? What if instead of fighting it, you listened? You might discover that self-doubt carries hidden strengths: humility, introspection, the ability to question assumptions, the power to see from multiple perspectives. Suddenly, what once seemed like an enemy becomes a hidden ally, and the archetypes don't stop there. Jung described many each representing different aspects of our inner life. Among the most powerful are the anima and animus. Jung believed that within every man exists a hidden feminine side. The animan within every woman exists a hidden masculine side, the animus. These are not about gender in the physical sense. They are about energy. The anima represents intuition, creativity, emotion, and deep connection with the unconscious. The animus represents logic, structure, discipline, and assertiveness. When these two are out of balance, inner conflict arises. A man who rejects his anima may fear vulnerability, struggling to express emotions or connect deeply with others. A woman who rejects her animus may hesitate to assert herself, avoiding leadership or decision-making out of fear. But when these hidden forces are embraced and balanced, they unlock profound strength. The anima enriches life with creativity and empathy, while the animus provides clarity and determination. Together, they create wholeness. And this is the essence of Jung's vision. To truly find yourself, you must embrace all of yourself, the light and the dark, the masculine and feminine, the known and the unknown. Individuation is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming whole. But Jung's journey didn't stop with the shadow, the hero, or the anima and animus. He pushed further into the deepest layers of human identity. And here he uncovered a truth so radical that it shakes the very foundation of how we think about the self. Because the greatest obstacle to finding yourself is not simply fear or doubt or conditioning. It is the illusion of self itself. Most people move through life believing that their identity is fixed. This is who I am. This is my story. This is me. We define ourselves by names, jobs, culture, experiences. We imagine a solid self moving through time. But Jung and many mystics and philosophers before him saw something different. He understood that the self is not a static entity. It is fluid, ever-changing, far greater than we imagine. The you think you are is only a fragment of a much larger whole. The identity you cling to is only a temporary mask, a construct created by the ego. So what are you really? Jung's answer was that you are not just a single, isolated individual. You are part of a vast, interconnected field of consciousness. You carry within you the wisdom of generations, the depth of the unconscious, and the potential for transformation beyond imagination. This is what Jung called the self-not, the small ego self that clings to labels and fears, but the totality of who you are. The self is the center, the unity, the wholeness that contains every aspect of youth, the conscious and unconscious, the shadow and the persona, the anima and the animus, the hero and the villain. It is the vast truth of your being that lies beneath the illusions. But if this is true, why do we feel so limited?